In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up a system for reactivating your clients using an AI voice agent. Let's imagine that a lead filled a form on your website, but for some reason you couldn't follow up with them and they are just sitting in your CRM as dead leads. Reactivating them can help your business increase the chance of converting them in the future. Typically, leads should be reactivated after a period of inactivity, for example 30 days or 90 days, or when they are moved into a follow-up or reactivation stage in your CRM. In this video, I will show you how you can automate the complete reactivation process using an AI voice agent, integrating with GoHighLevel, and we will also use n8n to evaluate the transcript, and based on that we will move the lead to a specific stage. First, I will walk you through my GoHighLevel setup and we will set up the trigger automation, then we will configure the Vapi voice agent, and after that we will create an n8n workflow which will receive the call transcript, and based on the transcript we will qualify and update the lead in GoHighLevel. This is how my pipeline looks like. We have a column for ready for reactivation, and I have two contacts here. We also have a reactivate with AI call column, and this is where we will trigger the AI voice agent. So when I drag a contact to this column, it will trigger an automation within GoHighLevel and it will call my voice agent. And after that, when we finish the call, we will qualify the lead, and based on that, we will place them in a specific column. For example, if the lead is ready for reactivation, we will put that in the engaged field. If the call was unsuccessful or we couldn't reach them, we will put in the no response column. And if the lead asked us to not contact them with again, we are going to put them in the unreachable column. And to show you how a contact looks like, we can open this. And I added an extra field, which will be the reactivation transcript. So when the call has finished, we will populate this field with the call transcript. And the way you can add this is to click on this settings button. And here you can click on add field. You need to select multi-line because it will be a long text. Let's click on next. And here you can provide a name for the field. I added reactivation transcript. And then you will have an extra field. So let's set up the automation here. Let's go back. And you need to click on automation. Let's click on create workflow. Start from scratch. And the first thing we need to do here is provide a trigger. And the trigger for us will be when I drag the contact into a call column. So let's click on add new trigger. And here we need to find opportunity changed. And you can give a name to the trigger. I'm going to keep opportunity changed, and let's add a filter where I'm going to select pipeline. In pipeline leads, you need to select your pipeline here. Let's add another filter, and here we need to find pipeline stage, and I'm going to select reactivate with AI call. So when we drag the contact into the reactivate with AI call column, it will automatically trigger this workflow. So let's save this trigger. And now we need to specify what will happen after the automation has been triggered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trigger a webhook that will call my n8n workflow, and it will send all the data to this workflow, which will call my AI voice agent. So let's click on this plus button, and we need to look for webhook here. You can see that we have a webhook action here and also a custom webhook action. You can use the custom webhook when you have a pro subscription. I'm on the free plan, so I'm just going to use webhook. But if you want to call the AI voice agent directly from this workflow, you can select the custom webhook and you can just fill in the body exactly the same way we are going to do it in the n8n workflow. But this time I'm going to select webhook. We need to create a webhook. So I'm going to open n8n and let's create a new workflow. I'm going to call it trigger call. And here let's add the webhook. Let's switch the HTTP method to post and also select the production URL. Then we can copy the URL. Let's go back to GoHighLevel and we can paste the URL here. When we have that, let's click on save action and click on the save button. And I'm going to publish this workflow and click on save again. Then we can go back to the n8n workflow and let's activate it. And now we are able to receive data from GoHighLevel. So let's go back to the workflow and let's go back to the pipeline. And let's try that by dragging a contact into the reactivate AI call column. Let's see if it worked. Yes, we got the data. And if you open the webhook node, we can see that we received all the data that is related to the contact. And we also received some extra data such as pipeline name, pipeline ID. And these will be useful after the call has been done, because we will be able to identify which contact and which pipeline we want to update. Now that we have all the contact data, we can create our Vapi voice agent. So let's open Vapi. And let's go to the dashboard. And let's go to assistants. I already created an assistant. If you want to create a new one, you can click on create assistant, and I kept it on blank template. Then you can just click on create assistant. But what I did here is for the first message, I wrote, "Hi, is this name?" And if you see a word within double curly braces, that means that it's a dynamic variable. And here the name will come from GoHighLevel. For example, if the lead is called John, it's going to say, "Hi, is this John?" So we can customize the call script a little bit. And also I created a lead qualification script for the voice agent. You can pause the video if you want it, but you can also find it in my resource hub. I will put the link in the description, and you will also be able to find it in the comment section. So basically what it does is it asks, are you interested in selling? What's the timeline? It will also ask for the area of interest and the preferred contact method. Then after the call, we will send call summary to our n8n workflow, where we will qualify the lead based on their answer. We can go back to the n8n workflow, and we need to add an HTTP request node. This will be the node that will initiate the call. To get the URL, let's go to the Vapi documentation. And let's go to create call. And this will be the endpoint that we need to hit to be able to make the call. So let's copy this. And we can paste it in the URL field. Don't forget to set the method to post. And now we have to authenticate our requests. So let's click on authentication and let's select the generic credential type. And let's open this up. And here we need to select the header auth. And let's create a new credential. In the name field, we need to write authorization. And for the value, we need to provide our auth token. So let's go back to the Vapi dashboard and let's go to the Vapi API keys page. And let's get our private key. Let's go back, and here we need to write bearer space and your token. So this is how it will look like. You need to write bearer space and here your auth token. And once you have that, you can click on save. And let's close this. And we need to provide a body, because this is where we will specify the phone number of the customer, and also this is where we will pass the dynamic variables to Vapi. Let's switch this to using JSON, and let's go back to the API documentation, then click on try it. I like to do it this way because if we do this, we don't need to format the JSON. Now we can open up the body parameters, and let's select the assistant ID. To get the assistant ID, let's go back to the Vapi dashboard. And let's select our assistant, and you can get the assistant ID from here. You can copy this value, and then let's paste it in. You can see that the field is updated. And now we need to tell which phone number Vapi has to use to initiate the call. So let's find phone number. And here you need to provide your Twilio credentials. You need to get your account SID, your phone number, and you will also need to provide your Twilio auth token. And once you have that, we need to provide the phone number we need to call. So let's open the more optional properties and let's find customer. And here we can provide the phone number. We will populate this in the n8n workflow. And lastly, we need to provide the name of the lead. So let's find the assistant overrides. And we need to find variable values. And now we can copy this JSON. And let's go back to n8n. And we can just paste it here. Let's close this. And we need to get the data from the webhook. So I'm going to go back to the previous execution. And I'm going to copy this value. And here we can pin this. So we don't have to trigger the GoHighLevel workflow every time we want to test this. Let's close this. And now we can drag the values to the proper place, but before we do that, let's switch to expression. And first let's drag the phone number of the lead. When we have that, let's go inside of the variable values, and I will need to provide the name of the lead. And here we can just drag the first name of the lead. So it will say, "Hi, is this John?" And don't forget to provide your Twilio credentials. When you have that, we can close this, and let's click on save, and I'm going to execute the workflow. And now I should be able to receive a call. And now I'm receiving a call. "Hello." It didn't say anything because we didn't assign the phone number to the voice agent. So let's go back to Vapi, and in the phone number page, you need to click on create phone number, and let's go to Twilio. And here you also need to provide your Twilio credentials. Once you have that, you can give a name to the phone number. I'm going to call it Twilio. Then let's click on import from Twilio. And now here you will see this assistant field. Let's click on this one and let's select your assistant. And now we should be good to receive a call. So let's go back to n8n, and I'm also going to create a new n8n workflow. Let's save this. And let's create a new workflow where we will receive the call. I'm going to call it evaluate leads. And let's also add the webhook. Let's switch this to production URL, and it will be a post request. Let's click on save and activate it. And let's also copy the production URL. Now we can go back to Vapi, and let's paste the URL to the server URL field. And by this we tell the assistant to send all the end call reports to this URL. Let's click on publish. And now we can go back to the n8n workflow where we will trigger the call. And we can click on execute workflow.
Hi, this is Alex calling from Summit Realty Group. You'd reached out a while back about buying or selling a home, and I just wanted to check in and see if real estate is still on your mind.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. We're reconnecting with folks who are exploring the market. Are you currently looking to buy, sell, or just gathering info?
Yes, I would like to buy a property.
Great to hear. Are you looking to buy soon? Or is this more of a long-term goal for you?
No, I would like to buy very soon. Okay, I ended the call, and now we should be able to receive an end of call report. So let's go back to the evaluate leads workflow, and let's click on executions. And it looks like I already received that, but as I see, we received other events as well. So let's check them out. And this is an end of call report. And we should be able to see the transcript of the conversation. So based on the transcript, we can evaluate the lead, but it looks like we forgot to pass the opportunity ID and pipeline ID to the voice agent. And we need that in order to update our pipeline. So we need to move the contact into their proper column. And we need to have the pipeline ID for that. So let's go back to the trigger call workflow. And we can pass them as dynamic variables as well. So I'm going to add a new variable, which will be the pipeline ID. And this will come from the webhook. And let's also add the opportunity ID. Let's also find this from the webhook response. It will be the ID. And now we can close this. I click on save. And let's initiate the call again.
Hi, is this John?
Yes.
Awesome. We're reconnecting with folks who are exploring the market. Are you currently looking to buy, sell, or just gathering info?
I would like to buy a property still.
Great to hear that, John. Are you looking to buy soon, or is this more of a long-term goal for you?
Yes, within 1 month. I'm going to end the call, and let's see if we received everything. Let's open the evaluate leads workflow, and let's check the executions. And if we scroll to the bottom, we will see that we have the pipeline ID and also the opportunity ID that we can use later to update the pipeline. So let's copy all these fields and let's pin it in the webhook node. Let's click on save. And now we can add an LLM. Let's switch the prompt to define below. And here we can say, you are a professional call evaluator. You will receive a transcript from a lead reactivation call. Task. Your job is to find out whether the lead is still interested in our real estate services. And let's define an example output. Example output. It will be interested or not interested or unsuccess. And it will need to evaluate the call as unsuccess. Evaluate the call as unsuccess when you didn't receive any transcript, because that will mean that there was no conversation between the lead and the AI voice agent. And here we can say the transcript, and we can just drag the transcript. If you want, you can also use the summary, but this time I'm going to use the transcript. Don't forget to click on expression before you drag in the value. And let's test this, but first we need to assign a model. So I'm going to assign a ChatGPT model. And now we can click on save and let's execute the workflow. Okay, it looks like it evaluated the call as interested, but this is not exactly the output that we will need. So I'm going to change this a little bit. So let's delete this from the beginning, and I'm also going to use a specific output format. And let's select a structured output parcel. And for the key, I'm going to say result. And this can be interested or not interested or unsuccess. Let's remove this comma and click on save, and let's execute the workflow again. And now we have the evaluation as interested. And after we have that, we need to make a connection between n8n and GoHighLevel, because we will need to update contacts and also update the pipeline. And to do that, first, let's click on the plus button and let's select the high level node. And here first, let's find the create or update contact. And I already authenticated my GoHighLevel account, but I'm going to show you how you can do it. So you have to click on create new credential. And here you need to fill in all these fields. And to get them, you need to go to marketplace.gohighlevel.com. And once you're here, let's go to app dashboard and let's click on create app. This will be a private app, and I'm going to select agency and sub account. Let's keep it as white label and let's provide a name for the app. I'm going to call it n8n test. And now we can click on create app. And once you created it, let's open up the advanced settings and let's go to auth. And here you need to specify some scopes that you can get from the n8n node. We need to select the scopes that are defined here. For example, location.read-only. So let's find that. We will also need the contacts read-only and contacts write. Let's also select the opportunities read-only and write, and we will also need the users read-only. And we also need to provide locations, custom fields read-only, and also the locations custom fields right. And when we have that, let's go down to the redirect URLs, and we need to get the URL from the n8n node. So let's copy this URL, and we can just paste it here. Then let's click on add. Let's scroll down a little bit, and for the client keys, we need to add the new key. So let's click on it, and let's give it a name. I'm going to call it n8n key. We can click on add, and it will generate us a client ID and also a client secret. So let's copy the client ID, and we can paste it in the n8n node. And let's also get the client secret. And for the scope, we can copy these values that you see at the bottom. And we also need to provide the locations custom fields read-only and locations custom fields write. So let's hit space. Then say custom fields / custom fields dot read only space locations / custom fields dot write. And now you can click on connect my account. Let's scroll down a little bit. You might need to authenticate your GoHighLevel account, but once you have that, you can click on next. And here you can select your agency or your sub account depending on your needs. I'm going to select my sub account. And now we have the connection between n8n and GoHighLevel. So now you can use the GoHighLevel APIs from your n8n workflow. So let's close this. And now we will be able to update our contact. So what we need to do is I'm going to execute the workflow. And let's open up the webhook. And to identify the contact, we can use the phone number of the lead. So let's find the customer field. And let's drag the phone number here. And let's click on execute step. It looks like it also requires the email. So we will need to send it to the voice agent. So let's click on save. And let's go back to the trigger call workflow. And here we will also need to send the email to the voice agent. So I'm going to say email. And we can drag it. And now let's click on save. I'm not going to recall the voice agent this time. I'm just going to go to the evaluate lead workflow. And let's update the response. So now that we are sending the email to the voice agent, we will also receive an email. And this will be the email of your contact. And I know that the email of my contact is test@john.com. Let's click on save. And now we can use that to identify the lead. So let's find the email address. It should be at the bottom. And let's drag it. And now we can test it out by clicking on execute step. And now it looks like it worked. And in order to update the transcript to this contact, let's select custom field. And let's click on add field. And here we should be able to see the custom field. So let's click on reactivation transcript. And here I can use the transcript that we received from the call. And now we can click on execute step. And let's see if it worked. So let's go back to GoHighLevel and let's open the contacts. And I was using John test. And it looks like it worked. Yes, it updated properly. So now we can go back to n8n again. And we will need to update the opportunity. So what we are going to do, if it's interested, we are going to move the lead to engaged. If the lead was not interested, we are going to move it to do not contact. And if the call was unsuccessful, we are going to move it to no response. So let's add another node, high level. And here we need to find the update opportunity node. And for the opportunity ID, we can use the value that we received from the webhook. Let's drag the opportunity ID. And let's click on add field. And we need to select the pipeline name or ID. And here we can use the expression, or you can also select the deletes here. It depends on your setup. So if you want to manage multiple sub-accounts on GoHighLevel, it's recommended to use a dynamic variable, but I can just select delete here because I only have one sub-account. And let's also add another field, which will be stage name or ID. Here I can select which stage I want to move the lead to. So I'm going to select engaged, but let's close this. And between these nodes, I'm going to use a switch node. And here I will provide some conditions. I will need the value from the basic LLM chain. And condition A will be if the result is interested, then I'm going to move the lead to the engaged column. Let's add another rule. If the lead is not interested, let's copy this. And if the lead is not interested, I'm going to move it to the do not contact column. And if we didn't receive any transcript, I'm going to move it to the call later column. So let's add another rule, which will be if there's no transcript, we need to get it from the webhook. Let's drag it. And we need to select does not exist. Let's clone this. If it doesn't exist, let's select no response, retry later. Let's click on save and let's try it out. It looks like it worked. It went to the first route and let's see if it got updated. Yes, we updated the pipeline successfully. In GoHighLevel, you can customize your pipeline even more. So you can define that, for example, if a lead is a dead lead, then it will automatically get moved to reactivate with AI calls. So you don't have to manually drag these leads into the column to be able to trigger a call. It really depends on your setup and your requirements. And this is it. I hope this tutorial was helpful. If you need the n8n workflows, you will be able to find it in my resource hub. I'm going to put the link in the description and also in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.